August 6, 1945, 8:15 in the morning, a flash of light, and then silence. The world had never seen anything like it. Just 3 days later, it happened again. By the middle of 1945, the world was holding its breath. World War II, the deadliest conflict in human history, was finally drawing to a close, at least in Europe. After years of brutal fighting, cities lay in ruins, millions had perished, and entire nations were forever changed. The Allied forces had pushed back the Axis powers on every front, and the end seemed within reach. In May, Nazi Germany finally surrendered. Across Europe and America, people poured into the streets celebrating the long-awaited victory. The war in Europe was over, and for many, it felt like peace had finally arrived. But on the other side of the world, the war was far from finished. Japan, battered but unbroken, was still fighting fiercely. The Pacific Theater remained a brutal battleground, with both sides suffering heavy losses. By this point, Japan had lost most of its once mighty navy. Its cities were bombed almost every night, leaving neighborhoods in ashes and families homeless. The economy was in shambles and food was scarce. Civilians endured unimaginable hardship, standing in long lines for rations, unsure if tomorrow would bring relief or more destruction. Despite all this suffering, surrender was not an option for Japan's leaders. The military government clung to the hope of a miraculous victory, or, at the very least, a negotiated peace that would preserve their honor and way of life. Why did they refuse to surrender? For many in the Japanese military, the idea of dying with honor was deeply rooted in their culture and beliefs. Surrender was seen as the ultimate shame, a betrayal of their ancestors and emperor. Instead, they prepared for a final, desperate defense, one that would cost countless more lives. Faced with this grim reality, the United States and its allies confronted a terrible dilemma. They could launch a full-scale invasion of Japan, an operation predicted to cost over 1 million Allied lives and devastate what remained of Japan. Or they could unleash a new, secret weapon, one that promised to end the war in a single devastating blow. The world was about to change forever. In the midst of World War II, a veil of secrecy shrouded a groundbreaking scientific effort. Scientists from across the globe, united under the leadership of the United States, embarked on a mission that would forever change the course of history. This top-secret initiative was known as the Manhattan Project. Hidden from the public eye, the project brought together brilliant minds, physicists, chemists, engineers, and mathematicians, working tirelessly in remote laboratories and makeshift offices. Over 130,000 people, from scientists to laborers, engineers to clerks, contributed their skills and energy to this colossal undertaking. The scale of the project was unprecedented, with entire towns built from scratch to support the effort. Yet, despite their dedication, most workers had no idea what they were actually building. The true purpose of their labor was kept hidden, cloaked in mystery and strict security. Only a select few at the very top knew the project's ultimate goal. On July 16, 1945, in the remote desert of New Mexico, the world witnessed a moment unlike any before. The first atomic bomb was detonated in a test known as Trinity. The explosion unleashed a blinding flash and a towering mushroom cloud, signaling the dawn of the nuclear age. As the shockwave rippled across the desert, project leader J. Robert Oppenheimer recalled words from ancient scripture. "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." The Manhattan Project had changed humanity forever. August 6, 1945. The world was at war, and on a remote Pacific island called Tinian, a B-29 bomber named Enola Gay prepared for a mission that would change history forever. The crew, trained for months in secrecy, loaded their mysterious cargo under the cover of darkness. The engines roared to life as dawn approached, and the massive aircraft lifted off the runway, carrying with it a weapon unlike any ever used before. Its mission? To deliver a single, devastating payload, a uranium bomb, codenamed Little Boy. The bomb was a product of years of scientific effort, a secret project known as the Manhattan Project. As the Enola Gay soared through the clouds, the crew knew the gravity of their task, but not the full extent of the destruction they would unleash. At exactly 8:15 in the morning, the bomb was released over the city of Hiroshima. In an instant, a blinding flash lit up the sky, followed by a fireball that rose higher and higher, forming a mushroom cloud visible for miles. The force of the explosion was unimaginable, shattering windows and flattening buildings in a matter of seconds. The city was engulfed in chaos. Streets, homes, and entire neighborhoods vanished in a wave of destruction like the world had never seen before. The shockwave rippled outward, leaving nothing but ruins and silence in its wake. At the center of the blast, temperatures soared to over 1 million degrees Celsius, hotter than the surface of the sun. Buildings vaporized, steel melted, and everything in the immediate area was reduced to dust and ash in a fraction of a second. The heat was so intense that human shadows were burned into stone, haunting reminders of lives erased in an instant. These ghostly imprints remain, silent witnesses to the unimaginable power unleashed that day. Over 70,000 people died instantly, their lives extinguished in a moment. The city, once vibrant and full of life, was transformed into a landscape of death and devastation. In the days, weeks, and years that followed, tens of thousands more would perish from injuries, burns, and radiation sickness. The sky above Hiroshima glowed red with fire and smoke, casting an eerie light over the ruins. Survivors stumbled through the streets, their skin peeling from their bodies, desperate for water and help. The horror was beyond comprehension. Families torn apart, children searching for parents, and a city struggling to understand what had happened. For many, the devastation was so complete, so overwhelming, that it felt as if they had descended into hell itself. The memory of that morning would haunt Hiroshima, and the world, forever. Japan still did not surrender, so on August 9th, a second bomb was dropped. This one plutonium-based, named Fat Man. Target Nagasaki. Due to clouds, the bomb missed the center of the city, but it was still devastating. More than 40,000 people were killed instantly. Thousands more suffered long-term radiation effects. Japan surrendered on August 15, 1945. The war was finally over, but honestly, the wounds were just beginning. Survivors, known as hibakusha, faced not only illness but also social stigma. Many could never work, marry, or live normal lives again. Children born later showed signs of genetic damage, the cities were gone, the trauma was permanent. President Truman called it a necessary evil. Others called it a crime against humanity. To this day, Hiroshima and Nagasaki are the only times nuclear weapons were used in war. The world was shocked. Nuclear weapons became not just powerful, but political. Today, Hiroshima and Nagasaki stand as symbols of peace. Every year, millions visit to remember what happened, and what must never happen again. Sadako Sasaki, a young girl exposed to radiation, folded 1,000 paper cranes before dying of leukemia. Her story became a symbol of hope. We often talk about power, science, and victory, but Hiroshima and Nagasaki remind us, with great power comes even greater responsibility. The scars are still there. The warnings still echo. Because when the world changed forever, it asked us one question: will we ever learn? If this story moved you, subscribe for more powerful stories from history. Comment